Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, back to the living room, hanging out with great friends. This case just gets more absurd by the day. I don't even know what to say. I just don't. Makes my jaw drop. I've been in here talking with you guys this morning, getting the update on Sharon's garden and everything like that. Who did I miss? Soulshine, good morning. Nana Banana, good morning. Joy's in the house. Laverne, Izzy's in the hizzy. You're right, Jules. We do have the best community. JM, hey, hey, hey. Dakota. If you missed it this morning, go check out a short I put up about OJ. I'm not the best present rapper, okay? Not rapper like Eminem. I damn sure can't do that. But I have this fetish with good wrapping paper. I know you can get it at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 now. But we go to a lot of thrift stores and, look around and stuff. And I don't care if it says Happy President's Day. I don't care if it's Hallmark wrapping paper. I have to have it. It is the best stuff. So I've been wrapping my husband's birthday presents this week. And well, it's hail because OJ tears up the paper. I'm like, you're no help, OJ. Just Me says, I buy mine after Christmas half off. That's the way to do it. Christina says, I love the really thick paper. Me too. But now if it's too thick, because I got some Martha Stewart at Marshall's, and besides having glitter all over me, I looked like a fat middle-aged stripper. It was too thick. I couldn't get it to tape down or anything. Yeah, no help from OJ. Let's take a second and tell everybody hello. Shake your neighbor's hand. Yes, OJ's always helping. Last night I made a grilled cheese sandwich, Slim Shady style, and he was licking the butter off the bread. He's always helping, always helping. All right, let's talk about Alexi. It's getting stranger and stranger. A medical malpractice suit is being filed, if it hasn't already been filed. Wrongful death. Now, in my opinion, the only person, baby, that can file a wrongful death would be the baby boy that was put in the trash can, file it against his mother. If Mr. Boyfriend had an ounce of morality, that's what he would be doing. He would be filing wrongful death against Alexi and would have never, ever let the baby boy's name be Alex. Insane. Crybaby says, can I start the comments? Are we to believe that the school knew she was preggers and all the friends, but the parents and baby daddy didn't? No. You see, when, if you remember the teenage years, early 20s, whatever have you, their hormones are off the charts. I have a feeling he saw her naked and pregnant quite a few times. Jinbug says this has got Rose's name all over it. It's a decoy. It's deflection. Don't look at what she did, look at what the hospital did. It's already unfathomable for someone charged with murder and tampering with evidence to be out on bond and to have such a small bond. Someone's charged with first degree, they sit it out till trial. And this malpractice is a joke. Now listen, if she had had the baby, she was in the bathroom, had the baby and was pulling the cord and asking for help and nobody came, and in that time the baby passed away, damn right. That's not what happened, my friends. That is not what happened. Before I get to all of that, our friend loved one another is going to be MIA for a little bit. She's having surgery. So I want everybody to put her on your prayer list, your thought list, however you do it. She's going to be watching this later, and I just want her to see some good well wishes. Speedy recovery for you, my friend. Love one another. We're going to miss you in chat, but we'll see you on the other side. You better believe it. Got Vinny on the screen. He looks like he's sneezing. Achoo. Bless you, Vinny. Great spray tan, by the way. Love it. Love it. And I'm glad that he keeps his hair gray. I can't stand it when they get on there and they've combed through that just for men. So this is about the toxicology, and then we're going to get to some other things, and not even just about Alexi, because there is a sickness, there is a foulness, there is a no accountability for these women. I don't know what they're teaching them. I don't know what they're teaching them in school. I don't know what their mothers are teaching them. Thank you, Where Summer, for becoming a new member. Also, Edit Twins became a new member. I almost said good member. I'm all over the place today. This gets me really heated. Really heated. No accountability. What are they teaching them? What are their mothers instilling in them? What are these schools teaching them? That it's just a blob of cells? Thank you, Joy Cowley. Look at it raining memberships. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy. What are they teaching them? Because it's not just limited to Alexi. Let's get to the word of the day.
What's today's secret word?
Ooh, interesting question. Let's go and ask Cocky.
Accountability. If nothing else, these women, and yes, they are women, need to learn accountability, because all of these people knew she was pregnant. You can't tell me her mother didn't know. You can't tell me Mr. Boyfriend didn't know. You can't tell me that his mother didn't notice in all the sleepovers she had at the house that she wasn't gaining weight in a couple of specific areas. Women know what pregnant women look like. I can't really say too much about the school. I mean, it's not a crime to have a baby, and she's an adult. It's a weird thing in high school. Once a kid turns 18, kind of like in college. I mean, yes, they have rules and accountability, but there's really not much they can do. Bonafide said, Mom said, what did I tell you about the people who do this to babies? Sounds like they did have the talk. I think so too, but no accountability. If you look at this right here, $100,000 bond. So that means $10,000 in equity at the Red Roof Inn, their house, just got her out. Allowed to attend school and graduation. no ankle monitor, required to attend counseling. Okay. Should have had counseling before we went to the hospital. Back to the word of the day. Accountability.
What's today's secret word?
Ooh, interesting question. Let's go and ask Cocky.
Accountability. All right, before I get to the toxicology, I want to go through some of your comments from the last show about Alexi. Kitten Farm. Where's my glasses? OJ knocked him in the floor. Kitten Farm said, I'm 41. My mom talked to me about not killing my baby if I got pregnant as a teen. She told me not to hide it, told me if I killed my child, my mom and dad would be done with me. No help, no money, no phone call. You don't have a baby and kill it, even if you're 13. I may get an ass whooping, but once you kill it, done. She said, my son is almost 7. He knows babies don't go in trash cans. He knows he can come to me and his dad. Once you commit a crime, we can't help him. But see, this is something we go back to accountability. Lexi's mother is not fully connecting the dots. She keeps arguing as if Lexi is 11. She's 19, pushing 20. She's a grown woman. And so Lexi, she's the one that's going to pay for this. Unless they can prove somebody was in on it with her. Jen Fontaine said, this whole thing angers me and disgusts me. Why isn't this murderer sitting in a jail cell while she waits for trial? She needs to go away for a very long, long time. This was deliberate, and there are definitely a lot more things to be figured out. Mom is a crazy psycho, and something isn't right with her at all. Mom was also involved in a hit and run in Waco, Texas, and got the hell back to New Mexico. No accountability. Mama Mia said, in my opinion, all of these people, except the stepdad, conspired. This is some wacky plan devised at the kitchen table. 4 adults and not one brain among them. Think about it. You have the mom, you have Alexi, Mr. Boyfriend, and Mr. Boyfriend's mom. You're not going to convince me that her mom and Mr. Boyfriend's mom didn't notice, or Mr. Boyfriend did not notice that she was pregnant. We're actually going to look at a clip of her at cheerleading. She is clearly pregnant. Mama Mia goes on to say, I can't with these people. R.I.P. baby Alex, and prayers for the hospital staff. Ohio Jojo said, if baby mama was so scared, she would have cried for her mother. She would have ran out yelling, help me. The pictures show she is pregnant. She dressed to hide her stomach because if it was just the fat style would be different. She refused examinations because she knew she was pregnant. She ran to the bathroom because she was crowning. This is a really important comment. She was not honest with the hospital. She kept saying, I'm a virgin. I'm a virgin. They clearly knew she wasn't. This is not Bethlehem. There's no manger. She knew what was going on. She knew her body was getting ready to produce a baby. Another interesting comment, they said, well, they must have had an ultrasound and knew they were having a boy because they had a baby boy's name picked out. Think about that. Think about that. her and Mr. Boyfriend picked out his name. And now we want a malpractice suit against the hospital? These people are tore up over what happened. I don't think that housekeeper is ever going to be the same. Ever. All right, let's get into the toxicology. There's a lot to go through here. I'm going to put up the link if anybody wants to come up and help me with this. Give me a second. I should have already done it. It's almost Friday. Almost Friday. What do they say about buying a car? Never buy a car that was made on a Monday or a Friday. You're in good hands. We're almost there.
Seems younger than she actually is when she speaks. Maybe has had a little bit of a sheltered life. I don't know. She's 19, gives birth to a child in the hospital bathroom by herself. She's in a hospital. She goes in the bathroom, gives birth, then wraps the child in plastic, puts the child in the trash, covers it with more plastic. The child is dead. Now she's charged with murder. And we're all trying to figure out this case. Like, how does this happen? How she's in a hospital, for goodness sake. She's in the hospital. They didn't know that she was in labor? She didn't call out for a little bit of help? I don't understand it. No one understands it. Take a listen. Here's the charge nurse who was interviewed by police at the scene.
She had taken it and put it in the regular trash, and there's still trash all around the baby. She put it right in the trash can. Then she twisted it and wrapped it underneath him and then set the baby in the bottom. Then she put paper towels on top and then 2 wadded up trash cans or liners. They were clean on top of that. And then she placed a brand new clean liner in the trash can like it was ready to take trash.
So that would be called a cover-up. Please don't forget, she put him face down. Here's just a clip of the autopsy. The autopsy, and no, there is no pictures. I don't do pictures. I don't do FOIAs. The way I look at it is if it's ready for public consumption, then somebody like Vinny, Brian Enton, a real journalist is going to have it. Not for my hands. The autopsy revealed that the newborn did not have any physical abnormalities or injuries at birth. Good luck explaining that, Mr. Attorney. It was observed that air was present in the lungs and stomach, suggesting that the baby was likely born alive after a full 38 weeks of pregnancy. The autopsy indicated that the baby might have suffocated. Well, face down in a trash bag liner would do it. That would do it, my friends. Now, how's Mr. Attorney going to explain air in his stomach and his lungs? How?
That's what I found.
Yeah, so you said cold and blue already?
Cold and blue already. His temperature was like 95. No signs of life, no breathing, no respirations, no heartbeat, nothing, no movement whatsoever.
So her name's Alexi Treviso. Now, we spoke with her attorney and long conversation with him. And it seems they believe that the hospital is responsible here for what happened. It's not a murder case. It's the hospital who perhaps, according to the defense, they may go this way, caused the death of this child. So we got to take a look at the autopsy results and take a look. The cause of death here was asphyxia, suffocation, strangulation by entrapment. Manner of death, homicide. How the injury occurred. Child was tied in a plastic bag. Now in this autopsy, they said, yeah, there was air in the lungs. The baby took breaths. So how is it not murder? Well, tonight we're going to take a look at the toxicology report. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I can't explain it to you, but caffeine, presumed positive, Morphine, 19 nanograms per milliliter. And we believe the morphine was administered by the hospital. Then phentermine.
Okay, let's look at those. And I'm no doctor. Caffeine, well, it's going to be in my toxicology. I can tell you that. I just drank a whole pot of coffee. Morphine, they gave to her for pain, which, by the way, is common when women are in labor. And diet pills. She was taking diet pills.
$420 nanograms per milliliter. What does this mean? What does this mean? I need an expert. Let's bring in our guest to help analyze these results. Joining us in Barrington, Rhode Island, board-certified forensic pathologist, Dr. Priya Banerjee. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm trying to understand the toxicology tonight. This is brand new for us. I spoke with the defense counsel. He was talking about the morphine, this 19 nanograms per milliliter. What does that tell you about what happened to this baby?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a complex picture. You know, we have to take sort of forest and trees. I mean, the toxicology is part of the puzzle. Now, I think you're correct that the morphine was given in the setting of her back pain. That was her chief complaint. Now, that's still a therapeutic level. You know, what goes into the mom goes into the baby, right? So that's how we know that the baby even got it.
So is that, you say, a therapeutic level? Could that cause problems for the child? Because, again, the defense may very well argue that the morphine caused the child to die after taking one or two breaths, whatever their expert is going to say. Is
right. I mean, these are very complex cases, and I haven't even reviewed like the autopsy itself. With that caveat, though, could it have impacted a newborn's breathing? Potentially, but you have to remember that, you know, like after a C-section, I received other opioids, right, for pain, and that breast milk was still getting into the baby. So I don't think they would have given her anything to harm the baby. Now, could it have impeded breathing? Potentially, but you know, you can't ignore that the baby was very, very like carefully disposed of, right? I think her reaction and the disposal of the baby is the most horrifying part of this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And not calling out for help and not saying anything. That's a
right.
big part of this.
Baby, I think, you know, then she should have brought it out to the nurses, etc. But, you know, that's where we get into the nuances of the case. Did the baby cry? Did it not? I do want to put out there, though, that the baby got CPR, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's a very critical element to clarify, because that can artificially inflate the lungs or get air in the stomach. So you don't want to overcall that, you know, and we know she's already at the hospital. They're going to try to resuscitate a baby, you know, not just assume it's dead. So I just want to put these little caveats out there. These are not straightforward cases at all.
No.
Okay, good for her and good for him finding an actual expert. Oh, Vinny looks surprised. Vinny's making his O face. All right, we have many women in here who have been in labor. I mean, you start having labor pains, you're like, give me the good stuff. Give me the good stuff. Okay? She came in immense pain. Now, my understanding is they did give the baby CPR. They didn't just assume the baby was dead. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Oh, and I expect a huge battle of the experts if and when this goes to trial. Absolutely. I'm just trying to get a little more perspective here. Now, is it phentermine? I don't.
Yep, it's phentermine.
Phentermine, 420 nanograms per milliliter. Is that a lot? Should someone who's pregnant be taking that? Can that impact the child as well?
I mean, anything the mom takes impacts the child. You have to remember that. Now, this is normally a diet drug. If you recall back in the day, fen, that sort of combination that's no longer used for other medical complications, that it was part of that combination. So, you know, why is she on a diet drug while she's pregnant? It's probably to conceal the pregnancy. You know, I bet her friends or family asked, you know, you're looking, she's pretty petite from her pictures and even now. Right, she's only 5 feet tall and she looks like a slim build. So I'm sure her stomach became prominent. Now, maybe she's saying I'm gaining weight and that's why the phentermine's in her system. This is available. I even checked before I logged on, like online, you can buy it without a prescription. So it's a traditional diet drug.
Yeah.
What pregnant woman would be taking diet pills? And yes, Alexi is a woman. She's got a mom that is up her ass sideways. How would her mom not know that she's taking a very dangerous diet pill? Was her stomach prominent? This lady's asking. I'd say, if you look at the screen, I'd say. No, ma'am, we do not take diet pills when we have a bun in the oven.
And what's not clear in the case is whether or not she knew she was pregnant.
Right.
And, you know, she's 19. Does she think she's gaining weight? So she's taking diet pills. And then what impact does that have on the child? What impact does the morphine? A lot of questions in this one. Dr. Priya Banerjee, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much for making a house call.
Take care. Good night.
All right, let's bring our think tank. Friday night, joining us in Atlanta, Georgia, family law attorney, law professor at Emory University, Randy Kessler. Also with us tonight in Washington, D.C., you recognize him, the attorney who represented Johnny Depp in his defamation case, won that case, by the way, in case you didn't see the end of it. Everybody saw the end of it. And fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, Ben Chu, is with us. And in Cleveland, Ohio, retired judge, former criminal prosecutor for Cuyahoga County in Ohio, judicial fellow at the National Judicial College, Gail Byers. All right, great to see everyone on this Friday. Sorry, guys, we're going ladies first, plus the judge goes first. Anyway, what are you thinking here, Judge? This case, to me, especially after speaking with Alexi's defense attorney, they're gonna say it's the hospital's fault. The hospital. You're in a hospital. They know that she's pregnant. She goes to the bathroom. She's in labor. They gave her morphine. They're going to say that the hospital killed this baby.
And, you know, Vinny, I think that that's wholly expected. There is, just as you indicated, going to be a battle of the experts in this case. You're going to have the defense that essentially has the responsibility of convincing a single juror that they should at least not buy whatever the prosecutor's story is.
Okay, and this is important, not just in this case, but every case. We're not worried about the jury as a whole. We're worried about the one single juror that buys the line of BS and is not going to hold her accountable. What is the word of the day?
What's today's secret word?
Ooh, interesting question. Let's go and ask Cocky.
Accountability. And this is something that Alexi, I have a feeling, is going to learn. Mom won't pay. Mr. Boyfriend won't pay. Mr. Boyfriend's mom won't pay. Cheerleading coach won't pay. She will. As of right now, there's no accountability. $100,000 bond, graduated, went to prom, no ankle monitor, My understanding is she's living with her dad in Texas and required to attend counseling. Big whoop. Look at these shit-eating grins going to the prom. There's a big difference between her belly 3 months after what happened in the hospital and a couple of months before. And you're telling me nobody knew? I believe this is in November of 2022. The death of baby Alex happened January 27th, 2023. A few months after, look at her belly. Look at her belly. Like nothing ever happened. And now they want to sue the hospital. The only lawsuit, if Mr. Boyfriend, if his mom would get in his ear, no, we're going to sue her on behalf of your son. That's where the lawsuit needs to be. She can make license plates for the next 30 years and pay him $10 a week till she shits the bed.
Because remember, the prosecution has the burden of proof. They must prove beyond a reasonable doubt every essential element of the crimes charged. And I believe there are two, the murder and the tampering. And all the defense has to do, if anything, is to find one holdout. And they will no doubt rely on that argument, positioning or transitioning the responsibility to the hospital in an effort to achieve that, while the prosecution must convince every single juror that the defendant is in fact guilty. Now, what I will say is, just as the doctor said in the prior segment, there's something to be said for this marriage of, criminal act and criminal mind. And there's going to be, I think, some considerable attention paid to the level and effort that was or allegedly taken to conceal the body of the baby.
I know what they're going to say there. She's in a panic. She's 19. Her mother's in the room. She's like, oh my, all this is happening at once. How would you react, ladies and gentlemen, if you were 19 years old and you didn't know you were pregnant? All of a sudden you're giving birth and you don't know what to do. You just kind of, I can hear it already. I know the way it's going to play.
This is just my opinion. If she truly had no idea that she was pregnant, now I don't buy it. Again, I don't buy that at all. If she truly had no idea, for all of that time of gestation, she didn't feel one kick, morning sickness, hemorrhoids, constipation, stomach acid, uncontrollable burping, acne that can't be explained. Y'all should have seen me when I was pregnant. All 3 times. You hear about these women that glow. There was nothing glowing about me. With my second one, it looked like I was growing a beard. I had hair in places I didn't know existed. If she truly had no idea, when she went in that bathroom, she would have been freaked out. She would have been screaming for help. She would have been screaming from hell and back because she would have been that freaked out. She would not have been biting her arm or whatever she did to control her screams and put the baby in the trash can and go back to the bed and jump in and say, see, I told you I wasn't pregnant. And then they come in, we found a baby in the trash can.
Let me do this though. Take a listen, and Ben, I want you to listen closely to this, and I want your take on whether or not you think Alexi Treviso in this video, this body cam video, seems sympathetic at all. Let's watch.
I'm sorry. He came out and he didn't know.
Lexi, I told you about this.
But
I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
it was not crying or nothing.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
and nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What? 9 months? Nothing was crying. Let's see. Have you watched the news of the girls that what they do to their babies and what they go to jail? Nothing was crying.
Okay, right there on the screen. Okay, so there's mom. We've talked about this. Why would you talk to her about it if she's a virgin? Why would you talk to a virgin about killing a baby? Nothing was crying, Mom. Nothing was crying. Just Shani said all 3 of my pregnancies I knew before the test came back positive. I knew with my 3rd one, I didn't even take a test. I just called the doctor and went. I knew I was pregnant. For one, well, I mean, I missed my cycle. Clue number 1. And I was craving cold meatloaf on white bread. Not warm meatloaf, cold meatloaf. That's all I wanted to eat. So yes, I knew something was going on.
What do you think, Ben?
Vinny, I think it is sympathetic, and I think she seems much younger than her 19 years.
Do you think it's enough that a jury would understand why someone in a hospital delivering a baby doesn't call out for help? And then somehow, I don't know what happened to the umbilical cord. I have no idea how that went down. But then puts the baby in the trash? Do you think sympathetic enough that they can overlook that part and give her a pass on the death of the child?
Well, these, as you pointed out, Vinny, these are unconscionable facts. But to her Honor's point, she only needs to convince one juror. One sympathetic juror is really all she needs. So I think a lot will depend on how the evidence comes in.
Professor, what are your thoughts here?
So my thoughts are the video is terribly important because it preserves her youth, right? By the time she gets to trial, she's going to be older. She's going to be a mature woman. Who knows how long it's going to take to get in front of a judge and jury. And so that does preserve that argument. I think it comes down to which do you believe, that she was a scared little girl and acted, who knows how we would act, or was it a cover-up, right? That's 90% of our solutions are, look at the cover-up, look at Al Capone, it was the taxes. We find some other way to prove that somebody was guilty, right? Evidence of guilt, running away from the scene of the crime, the cover-up. That's the whole case. And I agree with the judge. If the jury is split, she wins. If the jury is split 11-1, she wins. You got to convince all 12 that she was hiding something because she knew what she did was wrong.
Ben, what are your thoughts about the hospital here?
That there was negligence on the part of the hospital, but and that may be enough to get her that one juror she needs.
Yeah, and Judge, when I spoke with her attorney, he was very specific. He said about 45 minutes before she makes that run to the bathroom, where she makes a delivery, the pregnancy results were on the computer at the nurse's station. And it wasn't clear whether or not it had been read or they knew or didn't know, but they did a pregnancy test on her. So the results are there 45 minutes before she runs to the bathroom to give birth. What does that mean? Is this going to be?
Now listen, we've all been to the ER before. I'm assuming. Or if you've been in the hospital, by the time they go from room to room to room, it takes a while for them to come and tell people their results, especially in the ER. This 45 minutes does not part my hair. Okay? I've had to wait 6-7 hours on discharge papers. They have to attend to who needs the most help at that time. She knew she was pregnant. She knew.
enough to kind of shift the burden of who's in charge of this situation? Is it the mother carrying the child? Is it the hospital caring for this young woman who's carrying a child?
I genuinely think that from a defense perspective, it's absolutely going to be the responsibility of the hospital. And that is no doubt going to be the consistent refrain throughout the trial, that the hospital was aware. They failed to make their patient aware. So there's that duty of responsibility to your patient that the hospital is going to have allegedly lapsed on. And as a result, it set in motion a series of events leading to the decision-making of an immature 19-year-old in a traumatic and heightened emotional state to make a snap decision, which, you know, some adults far more mature than that would have struggled to make perhaps an appropriate decision. Now, that's not to suggest that, you know, that is a winning argument for all 12 jurors. But what I will say is that I can absolutely imagine and see the defense making a really firm argument to shift this responsibility squarely into the lap of the hospital. At the same time, you're going to have a prosecution that says, just as the professor said here, that the video evidence is really telltale evidence. It shows an individual in what seems like an emergency situation actually grabbing a part of their body, seemingly to prevent some.
She knew when she was running down that hall, holding her behind, she knew what was about to happen. 19 years old, not gonna lie, this malpractice suit and blaming the hospital is a smart defense tactic. It's smart, but don't think that the state of New Mexico isn't going to have their own experts. Don't think for a second.
Some activity, and that as a result of whatever happened behind those doors or that door in that bathroom, what was the result of that was a deceased full-term baby that made that person responsible for that. And they're going to argue that she knew what she was doing and she acted accordingly, and therefore that marriage of that criminal act and criminal mind is made, and that we need not establish motive. We don't even have to. We'd love to know the why, and we may never know the why, but it's enough that the elements are proven. That's what I think.
I think they could argue the why is right in the hospital room. Her mother's right there. She doesn't want to admit to her mother that she was sleeping with her boyfriend. I think that's where they're going to go. We shall see. We're just at the beginning of all this.
And I'm so glad that that woman brought that up. You don't have to prove a motive to the jury. Just the evidence. This is what happened. This is why they have to be prosecuted, convicted. This is why. Jay Lord said nobody is mentioning the water had to break. Well, this is our 5th or 6th show about this, and we spoke about this, Jay Lord. It's my belief that the water broke at the boyfriend's house. She stayed with him before, because he was the one talking about the low back pain. I think the water broke there. It didn't break in the hospital, because you can't tell me that between mom and the nurses, they didn't see a gush of water. No. Some people say it could have even broke in the bathroom, and that's why she was holding herself. Either way, we know that a baby boy, full term, with air in his lungs and stomach, came out of her in that bathroom, and instead of pulling the cord, she cleaned up the bathroom, or tried to. She wrapped him in a plastic bag and put him face down in a trash can. That is what we know. All right, Inside Edition put this out. JM said it's not always a big gush. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, my pregnancies, There was no glowing or anything. It looked like Niagara Dam Falls. Okay. I've never seen so much water in my life. Diarrhea for days, and then Niagara Falls. It was not pretty. All right, so this is Lexi at cheer practice. To me, this is further proof that they knew.
A cheerleader who secretly gave birth in a hospital and then, according to authorities, left her baby to die in a garbage can. She claims she didn't know she was pregnant and panicked. But as Amber Cogliano reports, many say looking at this video of her with her squad, she had to know she was expecting.
It's dramatic, just released body cam video of cops arresting a teenage cheerleader for allegedly murdering her newborn baby while her mom questions cops.
What is she under arrest for?
She has a warrant for arrest. Okay?
For what?
That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay?
What?
No accountability. She knows what she's under arrest for. She confronted her in front of the body cam, in front of the police. Lexi, we talked about this. You know, you've seen on the news what happens when people do this to their babies. And she acts like today's a new day, like a damn gray goose. She's 19, Mom. She's 19.
What do you mean that's all you're going to tell me?
19-year-old Alexi Treviso appears calm as she packs a small bag of personal items before being taken from her home. But her mom is distraught as she watches her daughter being handcuffed by cops. Cops say she left her baby boy in the trash in a hospital bathroom.
We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. He came out and he didn't know what to do.
Alexi says she had no idea she was pregnant and went to the ER for back pain. But is that believable? Check out this video.
She's clearly pregnant. Adriana, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Welcome to the channel. Adriana says she doesn't need to be in jail. She needs probation. Good student, never been in trouble. She's very childlike, immature, not a criminal. She is a criminal. She is a criminal. We don't put newborn babies in plastic in a trash can face down. See, that is a criminal. She was scared and did something out of fear. No, I don't think she was scared. If she was scared, she would have been yelling for help. She would have been yelling for help if she was scared. This was the plan. She knew the gig was up. That's it. And baby daddy, Mr. Boyfriend, if he had any cojones between the legs, him and his mama would be filing a wrongful death suit against her. Babies are humans. I see some people, you talk about an animal being abused and they come unglued, but a baby in a trash can, they're like, oh, she was just scared. Miss me with that shit.
Video of Alexi performing on her high school cheerleading squad less than 3 weeks before she gave birth. Cops say that's a baby bump showing and she must have known she was pregnant. I spoke with her defense attorney, Gary Mitchell. In the video, she clearly has a baby bump. How can she say she didn't know she was pregnant?
That's what she thought. She thought she wasn't pregnant because she's still having her monthly cycle, and that's a big issue.
Gary, you don't think she looks pregnant in that video?
I don't make a judgment on that, and I can't make a judgment on that.
Okay, so Mr. Attorney is doing what Mr. Attorneys do. I can't make a judgment on that. They're going to have to get all her medical records because for them, her and boyfriend, according to high school friends, they already knew the baby's name. Somebody obviously did an ultrasound or they were just hoping it was going to be a boy. I don't know. Sprint Car says the hospital gave her morphine though. The hospital gave me morphine when I was giving birth. It doesn't cross the placenta. I don't understand the hang up with the morphine. I really don't. And she knew she was pregnant. All she had to do was say, I'm pregnant. That's it. She knew what was going to happen. She knew that eventually what had been kicking inside of her and making her crave pickles and ice cream was going to eventually come out.
Pregnant in that video?
I don't make a judgment on that, and I can't make a judgment on that.
This body cam video shows the somber moment cops talk to Alexi's boyfriend, Devin Fierro, in a hospital waiting room.
You are more than likely would be the father? Okay.
Alexi is free on $100,000 bail.
Alexi Treviso has pled not guilty to first-degree murder.
Okay, she pled not guilty. I'm sure she did. Even if they find some sort of malpractice with that hospital, you cannot excuse the autopsy that said he was born at 38 weeks with air in his lungs and his little tummy, and that he was put face down in a trash can. Thank you, Bonafide. Thank you so much for the Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Again, back to no accountability. Here's what her mom was worried about. The school knowing. HIPAA violations. Let me tell you, there's no HIPAA when it comes to a dead child. This little baby boy has rights too, does he not? And actually, just because I'm curious, what did you guys crave when you were pregnant? I already told you about the cold meatloaf. What did you all crave when you were pregnant? Or what did your wife crave?
Ms. Rodriguez? Yes. At the hospital. You've been talking to my supervisor.
Yes,
Okay.
Sergeant Chris. Yes. Will it
And-
be you guys tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. I told him at 10 o'clock you could come over.
Okay.
Okay. You and your CYFD person.
Yes.
I'm better. It's
Okay.
just her.
She goes, I'm better. Nobody's worried about you. We didn't find you in a trash can, Rosa. Nobody's worried about you. I'm better. My second pregnancy, you know what I ate? So disgusting. Cheetos with Thousand Island dressing. Can you believe it? Nasty ass. That should be the word of the day with the stuff I used to eat. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Jessica. Glad you are here, my friend. All right, so we got that out of the way. We know Rosa's doing okay, but we didn't find Rosa in a trash can.
But, you know.
So have you, are you family?
Yes, this is her sister. This is
Okay.
my daughter.
I just don't want to talk about anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you thought about therapy for her?
Not yet, but I was gonna look into it. I was gonna look on the back of the insurance card. They told me there were some numbers on the back.
Yeah, so that's how you go through our
Okay.
your insured providers. Just FYI, for us, we have PMS here in town. They're the ones that most people are insured through.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
if you want to do in town, we do PMS here, and then we have one in Carlsbad, 2 in Roswell
Okay.
that are usually on all of everybody's insurance.
Okay.
Something to
Did
think
you
about.
hear about like HIPAA was broke and there's like a whole
How?
bunch of rumors out? Some
I heard there was
nurses-
rumors through
yeah.
the high school.
Yeah.
The nurses do talk, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's just small town stuff.
But that shouldn't have happened.
It shouldn't
That's why
have.
it's HIPAA.
And
you
I know. Well, and because I was reading on that, and like on Facebook, everyone's doing all that stuff.
She goes, but there's HIPAA. But there's HIPAA. I've had teachers reaching out to me. Let me tell you, Rosa, when you put a baby in a trash can, I don't care if it's the Dollar Tree, the Cracker Barrel, or the hospital, that's going to spread like wildfire. Accountability. You should not be worried about HIPAA right now. So already, see, Rosa's cooking up a lawsuit. It's the hospital's fault. No accountability.
Stuff. Because we did do a disclosure, and that was through our person of contact. That's our PSU command supervisor. So he did do one. He didn't put any name in it or anything like
Okay.
that. And that's just something he did because he was being asked about it for
Okay.
so long.
Okay.
So that one was done, but then I hear like the high school's
Yeah.
talking a lot.
Yeah. I had teachers message me and everything. So.
Really?
Mhm.
So everyone already knows.
Yeah. That's a bad thing about a small town.
Yeah, that is the best thing about a small town.
It
But
is.
like I said, but more importantly, I'd talk to insurance
Yes,
about therapy.
yes. And I am going to keep her home for about a week. And I am going to look for like therapy for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to do all of that as much as I can today and tomorrow. So,
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
At least you're actually a parent that cares.
I love my daughter. She's my everything. But yeah, you guys can come over tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you guys can come over tomorrow. I'll make chicken salad or I'll put something on the grill. I love my daughter. She's my everything, which is why she's fighting the power all the way through. What are you doing here? Oh, we're here to arrest Alexi. For what? Oh, well, if I don't know if you remember, but she happened to leave a baby in a trash can face down. That's kind of a big thing around here. It's kind of a big thing around here. Don't do it. It's a living baby. It's a baby. I hate when the attorney calls it a fetus. Or when she says nothing was crying. Well, it's not a nothing. It's a baby boy.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll be there.
We'll
It has
contact
a red roof.
We'll contact you before, make sure it's still okay.
Yeah.
We do that all just
Okay.
before, so that way you're not like forget about it. Some
Yeah.
people do.
No, I won't forget about it.
Okay.
We will be there.
Well, you have my number. The supervisor to
Yes.
talk to is Sergeant Perez. He's
Yes,
also
I've
you
been
have his
talking
number.
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been keeping in contact. So.
All right.
Yeah. Also, do you know like when anything about the autopsy, how fast? and
We
nothing?
asked to expedite it. I still haven't heard a word back. So it did happen on Saturday, but from
Yeah.
speaking with Weedman, the OMI person assigned to
Mhm.
the case, he said we're not hearing anything yet. So he told me as soon as we find out, or as he finds out, he'll let me find out.
Are we getting him back? Did you know? We are getting
You-
him back, right?
You will, yes.
Okay.
And that's why I was telling y'all at the beginning that, with like names, stuff like that, and then who you want, like Turpin's and who do you want to do end of life care with.
Okay. When do you think would?
I don't know. That's not up to
When
me.
do you want? Okay. Okay.
So you know how so with it being tricky because
Mhm.
technically you're not next to him, it'd be your daughter. Y'all would still be contacted with it because they'd have to find out where y'all want him to be transported to. Because some people pick them up from Albuquerque, because it's free of charge whenever they go from here to Albuquerque.
Okay.
And so it's free of charge coming back, but some people want to do like with just other cases, they'll do it in Albuquerque because it's cheaper to cremate, stuff like that there. They have to get a hold of you first to they have to get a hold of her first to let them know what they want to do next. So they'll get a hold of you as soon as they're done with him. I don't know what's taking so long. Usually
no,
they
that's
don't.
okay. No, we haven't even really, we've tried to talk about that, but she didn't know. She don't know.
Well, in town,
Back to innocent Alexi. She just doesn't know. She doesn't know. She knew a baby was delivered in that bathroom. She knew it hurt from hell and back. She knew she was at the hospital. She knew right on the other side of the door were nurses, doctors. She knew it. But instead, she just kept flushing and flushing and flushing and flushing. Leaves a bloody bathroom and puts the baby in a plastic bag, face down in the trash.
we have turpentine. Roswell has way more options for like mortician stuff like that. Because you have to talk about, do you want to do cremation, do you want to do burial, stuff like that.
Okay.
And so that's because she is of age, so she'd be having to be the one to sign off on everything. Because and I don't know y'all's financial situation, but y'all guys may be able to pay for it, but she still has to be the one to sign off on stuff with how that goes. Because with OMI and stuff like that, it has to be who's immediately next. Okay, so it's one of those that they will get a hold of her, and with that, something you and her would talk about what you guys want to do and him,
Yes. Okay.
and keep that involved.
Okay. We
But
will.
it's one of those things you always all have to mesh out.
Yeah. Okay. We will do
All
that.
right, we'll get it.
But thank you so much.
Get a hold of you tomorrow. Make
Okay.
sure. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
No poops to give. Yeah, you can come over tomorrow. You can come over tomorrow. It's the house with the red roof. You can come over tomorrow. Haunting. Absolutely haunting. Bonafide said the autopsy revealed that the newborn did not have any physical abnormalities or injuries at birth other than suffocation. Good luck, Mr. Defense Attorney, getting that past a jury. I have a feeling somebody on that jury is going to be a parent. I have a feeling somebody on that jury is going to be a parent of an unplanned pregnancy. Have a feeling somebody on that jury, when they show the autopsy pictures of the baby, is going to be sick. Sick. Now, Dr. Grande weighed in on this. I'm going to put the link up to his channel, because we're only going to watch part of it. You can go watch it on his channel. His thoughts are, and he's a professional, I am not, denial of pregnancy caused this hospital killing. So he's saying it right there. The baby was killed in the hospital.
Conducted by the police, it is reasonable to believe that Alexi became pregnant sometime around April 2022 and concealed her pregnancy from her mother. Now moving to the timeline of the alleged crime. On January 27, 2023, Alexi Treviso arrived at the Artesia General Hospital and reported having lower back pain. She was moved into a patient room and evaluated by hospital staff. It appeared as though Alexi was trying to conceal her pregnancy from the treatment providers. For example, she was wearing baggy clothing. When questioned by staff about the possibility that she was pregnant, Alexi denied being pregnant. She said that she did not have sex and she had regular periods. The results of a pregnancy test indicated something else. Alexi was in fact pregnant. At about 1:39 a.m., Alexi can be seen on a hospital surveillance camera running down the hallway, entering a bathroom, and locking herself inside.
There was a girl I went to school with, and to hide her pregnancy, which you're not going to hide it for very long, she was taking ketchup and putting it on her maxi pads. Finally, her mom said, "Why does the damn trash can always smell like ketchup?" She put 2 and 2 together. Gotta go see the doctor. You can't hide stuff like that from me.
Nurses heard water running, repeated toilet flushing, and frequent use of a paper towel dispenser. A few staff members asked Alexi if she needed assistance. She responded in a way which implied she did not. After checking on her several times, hospital staff grew concerned about her safety. Alexi was told to exit the bathroom, but she did not. A hospital employee obtained the keys to the bathroom from security in order to unlock the door. Alexi was in.
Okay, and this is very, very important, and we talked about it on, I think, the last show or the show before. They kept asking her if she needed anything. No, I'm fine. I'm just giving birth. Finally, they were like, "We're going to break this door down and we're going to get the keys. We're going to get in there." But she pops out, jumps back in the bed. "See, I told you I'm fine."
Informed that staff would be entering the bathroom, but before entry was made, Alexi opened the bathroom door and exited. This was 19 minutes after entering. She didn't say anything and walked back to her room. Upon inspection of the bathroom, the nursing staff was alarmed because there was blood everywhere. They did not know what happened. They thought maybe Alexei had brought harm to herself or was experiencing some type of pregnancy-related medical problem. Nursing staff notified housekeeping to clean the bathroom. At about 2:08 a.m., a housekeeper entered the bathroom and cleaned the blood. At about 2:26 a.m., when she was done cleaning, she went to take the trash bag out of the receptacle, but found that it was heavier than expected. Upon closer inspection of the trash receptacle, the housekeeper found a trash bag under other items. The end of the bag was tied and folded underneath itself. The bag contained what appeared to be a baby.
Tied, folded, wrapped, face down. What is the word of the day?
What's today's secret word? Ooh, interesting question. Let's go and ask Cocky.
Accountability. This is not accountability. This on the screen is not accountability. Not just for her, but for him. Because if I was his mama, I'd say, nope, nope, we're done with her. We're done with her. No. She was in the hospital and she did everything but the right thing. Sorry, but she's not going to be, she's not getting a stocking on my mantle at Christmas time. Forget it.
The housekeeper called the nursing staff for assistance. 2 nurses opened the trash bag and found a full-term newborn male. The baby was cold, blue, and exhibiting no signs of life. His temperature was 95 degrees. According to staff, the umbilical cord looked like it had been torn apart by an animal. The nurses contacted a physician who pronounced the baby dead at 2:28 a.m. Hospital staff notified the police, who arrived 2 minutes later. A physician had a conversation with Alexei about the incident. Alexei confessed to giving birth and hiding her baby in the trash can. She then tried to clean up the blood. Alexei said, "I'm sorry, it came out of me, and I did not know what to do." Referring to the baby using the word nothing, Alexei said nothing was crying. She insisted the baby never breathed or moved. Alexei also referred to the baby as it when she said she put it in a bag. An autopsy was conducted on the baby, who was referred to as Baby John Doe. He was alive when he was born and died shortly after.
He was alive when he was born and died shortly after. Yes. Yes, and I have a lot of questions about the cord, when the water actually broke, the placenta. It's all going to be explained in trial. And inebriated, which would be the morphine, like they're trying to say, immature, dumb, gets you nowhere with the law. If we just write everything off as, oh, well, this guy didn't know any better, or this woman didn't know any better because they were drunk, well, then there wouldn't be DUI on the books. There's no excuse.
He had no physical abnormalities or obvious injuries. He had air in his lungs, which indicates that he had been breathing. The cause of death was ruled as entrapment. This happens when an individual is in an airtight or relatively airtight container where there is not enough oxygen to sustain life. The manner of death was ruled as homicide. An arrest warrant was issued for Alexei. The police went to the residence where she lived, which also appears to be the home of several other people, including her mother. Despite her mother being argumentative with the police, they executed a very polite arrest. Alexei Treviso was charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. She is facing life in prison for the murder charge alone. Her attorney told the media that Alexei is innocent and claimed there was much more to the story. He alleged that she was failed by the hospital and ended up giving birth without help. Her attorney believed it was outrageous that she was facing a first-degree murder charge. He said, quote, "She's in great distress because she's in jail and never been there before and didn't do anything to deserve being there. I don't care what the state of New Mexico may allege," unquote. He further stated, quote, "She just lost a son. She just lost a child. I mean, come on, there has to be some common human decency here," unquote. Alexei was eventually released from jail on a $100,000 bond. She must receive mental health counseling. She has not been confined.
Bond, not cash bond, not James Bond, bond. So 10%, which 10 grand Rosa had to come up with, which she could have just said, use the house. Use the house. $100,000 is nothing for first-degree murder. People get held for millions cash, and they have to sit it out till they go to trial. This is an outrage. This is an outrage. And Mr. Boyfriend showing up to the prom with her, I get it, he's young, dumb, and full of you-know-what cum. But he's got a mama that needs to tell him, she killed your son. She killed your son.
To her residence, does not have to wear an ankle monitor, and is allowed to leave the state of New Mexico. She attended her high school prom in April 2023. At the time I'm making this video, Alexei maintains the presumption of innocence. Now moving to my analysis. There does not seem to be too much doubt that Alexei committed some type of offense here, but some people, like her attorney, believe that first-degree murder is a stretch. This brings me to the question, is Alexei guilty of first-degree murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that she is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. It seems clear that Alexei knew that she was pregnant prior to arriving at the hospital, or at least she should have known.
She knew. She'd already named the baby. This disregard for babies, I will never understand. I will never understand it. I'm not going to get into it about birth control, premarital sex. Let me tell you, sex is very popular. It's been popular since Adam and Eve. It's a big deal in our society. But when you know you're having a baby, that baby eventually is going to come out.
She was captured on video cheerleading 3 weeks before the alleged murder. Most people looking at that video would conclude that Alexei was pregnant. It seems fairly obvious. Alexei tried to hide her pregnancy from hospital staff by wearing baggy clothing. She denied being pregnant or even having sex. She demonstrated a clear ability to be deceptive. The staff at the hospital described her as manipulative and having no emotions except about herself. Alexei did not demonstrate any
manipulative and had no emotions about anything except for herself. Now, in the last show, we went through the Daily Mail article where even friends of hers in high school said she's very manipulative.
concern about her baby. She didn't ask about his condition or anything about him and referred to him using the terms nothing and it. She only appeared to be interested in what was going to happen to her. Alexei gave birth, placed her child in a trash bag, and tied the bag. She knew that this behavior would cause the death of her child. It appears as though this was her intent. She tried to clean up the scene and conceal the body. When Alexi realized that hospital staff was going to enter the bathroom with or without her permission, she casually walked out and said nothing. She made no effort whatsoever to get assistance for her child. Moving to the exculpatory factors, if Alexi was planning on committing murder, why did she go to a hospital first? If she had perpetrated the offense in private, she would have increased her chances of escaping responsibility. There is a possibility that the autopsy results were incorrect. Perhaps Alexi's son was not alive. Perhaps there is some type of mental health defense available. Like Alexi was in denial about being pregnant, this denial can rise to a delusional level in some cases. When considering all the evidence, do I think that Alexi Treviso is guilty of first-degree murder? Yes, I believe she is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Woo! Way to go, Doc. He said, yes, I believe she is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I like how he breaks it down. I know he's a little monotone, but she doesn't do anything to try to save her baby. Angel P is giving some claps. Let's give a clap for the doctor, because sometimes when these doctors are on here, you never know which way they're going to go. He said, beyond a reasonable doubt. Let him be the expert. Listen to that again.
Defense available. Like Alexi was in denial about being pregnant, this denial can rise to a delusional level in some cases. When considering all the evidence, do I think that Alexi Treviso is guilty of first-degree murder? Yes, I believe she is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. She knew she was pregnant, she deliberately killed her child, and she concealed the evidence. Alexi may have been in denial about her pregnancy, but she still understood the difference between right and wrong. Before I offer my theory about what happened in this case, let's take a look at the construct of denial of pregnancy. This is an unusual thought process that occurs in about 0.25% of deliveries. The result of denial is often concealment of the pregnancy, but concealment is a separate act. Women sometimes conceal a pregnancy without denying the pregnancy. There are 3 types of denial of pregnancy. The first type is pervasive denial. About 1/3 of the cases qualify as pervasive. With this type, the emotional significance and the very existence of the pregnancy are outside of the woman's awareness. All the physical symptoms of pregnancy, like weight gain and even labor pain, can be misinterpreted. With pervasive denial, family and friends often do not know the person is pregnant. The second type is affective denial. This is the most common type, accounting for about 50% of the cases. Here, only the emotional component of pregnancy is denied. The woman continues to think, feel, and behave as if she is not pregnant. Life goes on for the woman, and she doesn't really emotionally invest in the pregnancy, but she does realize that she is pregnant. The third type is psychotic denial. This is the least frequent type. It is straightforward. A woman with this type is delusional. She is out of touch with reality. Just like people can believe that others are inhabited by aliens or they're being spied on by the government, people can believe that a real pregnancy does not actually exist. About 50% of women with denial of pregnancy have a mental disorder. Research indicates this figure is probably underestimated. A mental health assessment is strongly recommended for anyone who has denial or concealment of pregnancy.
And we have seen many trials together. We have seen experts. The most recent would be Letitia. You have an expert who is talking about DID, dissociative identity disorder. The jury doesn't buy it. The jury doesn't buy it. She was not at school. She wasn't at the boyfriend's house going, oh my God, what's going on? She was at the hospital. One knock on the door, she wouldn't be here.
Unfortunately, the consequences of denial are more than just family and friends being surprised. Denial is associated with a dramatic increase in the risk of the child dying, especially within the first 24 hours following birth. Now moving to the last question, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. For any number of reasons, Alexi's mother did not approve of her daughter having sex. Perhaps she was adhering to some type of religious moral code or something like that. Alexi did not understand much about sex, but she was curious. She engaged in the activity with her boyfriend despite her mother's warnings. This resulted in pregnancy. At this point, Alexi was petrified about what her mother would do. She felt shame and did not want to tell her mother. Alexi developed an affective denial of pregnancy and decided to conceal the pregnancy. On January 27, 2023, Alexi was in pain, probably due to her pregnancy. One could make a good argument that she was in labor based on what happened afterward. She went to the hospital still hoping that she could conceal the pregnancy. Maybe she thought that she would receive some pain medication and go home. When hospital staff started talking about pregnancy, Alexi knew that she was going to get caught. As this was happening, she could tell that it was time to give birth. She ran to the bathroom, gave birth, and murdered her child. It never occurred to her that he was a human being or that life had some type of intrinsic value. From her point of view, he was an inconvenience. He was nothing, like when she said nothing was crying. The sole focus of Alexi was to avoid.
I really like Dr. Grande because he's brass tacks. Even though he doesn't have a lot of inflection in his voice, he was an inconvenience to her. That's why she said she called him a nothing. Listen to how he said it again. This is very unusual for a psychiatrist. Don't think old Dr. Lewis would have the same summation about this. She'd be saying Maria Sanchez told her to put the baby in the trash. We know how Dr. Lewis gets down. But good for him. Listen to how he says it.
To get caught. As this was happening, she could tell that it was time to give birth. She ran to the bathroom, gave birth, and murdered her child. It never occurred to her that he was a human being or that life had some type of intrinsic value. From her point of view, he was an inconvenience. He was nothing, like when she said nothing was crying. The sole focus of Alexi was to avoid disappointing or aggravating her mother. Her mother's reaction was the only thing on her mind. If Alexi had simply explained her situation to hospital staff, they would have permitted her to leave the baby there. They would have found a new home for him. But that strategy involved too much risk of Alexi's mother finding out. Alexi was willing to kill to keep her secret. Now moving to my final thoughts. The death of Alexi's son was 100% unnecessary. Alexi had many other options outside of allegedly committing murder. She was 19 years old. She could have gone to the hospital alone. She could have told the truth to her mother, or she could have told the truth to hospital staff. It never occurred to Alexi to accept responsibility for her behavior. Those are my thoughts in the case of Alexi Treviso. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section.
Good job. Good job. And sometimes the head shrinkers are way the hell out there. This is common sense. This is common sense. It was inconvenient to her. She didn't want to admit to her mother. Her mother insisted on taking her to the hospital. She's not going to tell her mother no, and she was in a lot of pain. We know why. We know why. She formulated this plan in her head. Just me, you're exactly right. Kids aren't taught to value life. I don't know. I can't blame it on the schools because school begins at home. You teach your children morals. You teach your children morals. I know what these schools are teaching, and it's damn sick. It's damn sick. Disgusting. She would not accept responsibility. She would not accept accountability. She jumped back in the bed thinking that they were just going to send her home. Next thing you know, the trash goes to the incinerator. The nothing as she called it, goes to the incinerator. She lays around for a few days or a few weeks, and nobody's any the wiser. Insane. No. Let's look at part of this about the hospital staff who still cannot believe to this day that this happened. They thought they were worried about her maybe harming herself. Never thought that she was giving birth on her own.
You gotta never see it again.
It's what seasoned medical professionals called a bloody massacre, comparing this crime scene to a horror movie. Brand new body camera captures the unsettling aftermath when a high schooler gave birth in an emergency room bathroom, allegedly killing her newborn son.
I've never, ever seen a reaction like that girl.
On January 27th, 19-year-old Alexi Treviso was admitted to an Artesia, New Mexico emergency room after complaining of back pain. Her newborn son was later found stuffed inside a trash can in a bloody bathroom she had just used. The high school senior was charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence before her graduation.
We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It came out in me and I didn't know what to do next.
Long Crime Network first brought you the chilling body camera video last month when medical professionals confronted Treviso about the baby.
See, I told you about this. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth. It was not crying or making.
Okay, and she's looking at the doctor. The doctor's just got her head down as if that's going to get her out of trouble. Does she think that the doctor is going to say, oh, I believe you, honey, and that's what you should have done? If when a baby comes out, if it's not crying, that's exactly what you should do. You just put it in the trash. And there's Rosa. I asked you. I told you about this. I'm wondering what you really told her.
What did you do to it? Okay.
Now we're hearing from medical staff who uncovered the gruesome scene after she gave birth.
When I went in there, it was a bloody massacre.
Body camera video shows police officers speaking with medical staff who worked the night Treviso was admitted into the ER.
She said she needed to go have a bowel movement, and that's kind of when the whole thing happened.
Hospital surveillance video shows Treviso leave her patient room at 1:38 a.m., waddling toward the bathroom while clutching her back. Treviso remains in the bathroom for 19 minutes as multiple people check on her.
I knocked on the door and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm just having a hard time going to the bathroom," is what she replied. So I was like, okay.
At some point, I went and kind of checked on her, knocked on the door, seen if she needed anything. She denied. She said she didn't need anything.
Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear anything.
Flush, toilet flush?
Yes. After a while, I started hearing. So I probably checked on her 2 to 3 times. I'm not exactly sure. And then I just kept hearing paper towel dispenser and flushing and like the water running. And I knocked again. Did she need anything? Denied.
Flushing, the water running. The hospital staff was checking on her. So you can go somewhere else with that. This malpractice suit, first of all, malpractice is very, very hard to prove. Hell, you got to find a sponge in someone to get malpractice. I mean, it's got to be something crazy. This is not going to work. When Angel was on last week, she talked about all the documenting. They have to write this down, write this down, write this down. It's not the 80s anymore.
Find anything in it. Eventually, it got to a point where I said, "You need to come out," and I asked the the clerk to get the key to unlock the door, because obviously she locked the door to go to the restroom. And whenever we finally had the key to unlock it, she opened it and just kind of walked out. And
did she say anything at that
she
point?
didn't say anything. She was just looking kind of straight past me and went back to the room.
Surveillance video captures that moment as Treviso leaves the bathroom and heads back to the patient room. It was then that hospital staff got a look at the bloody bathroom for the first time.
And all I saw was like blood everywhere, like on the walls, on the toilet. It just looked like horror film.
Police speak to multiple people who saw the bathroom, describing fresh blood on the walls, floor, and near the toilet.
The toilet's right here where you're at, and then the sink's right here. It was like up this way, blood splatter.
What?
Like,
In your line of work, what would cause that kind of splatter?
I think something that got pulled out or ripped. Like if you rip something and blood just went, it was like once you see the photo, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just.
So like you say, like rip, like something went like that?
Yeah, like when you rip something, or if you cut something and you go, like you swing your hand and blood just splatters.
Okay, so
that's how it looked.
Oh, so this was fresh to you?
Yes, this blood was fresh. You could even smell it.
We didn't.
Oh my God, you could even smell it. Now, mind you, these are healthcare professionals. They've smelled blood before. But if you were on a jury, how would you vote? JM said the cord. Jules said that was the cord. That splatter was more than likely the cord. I don't know if she used her teeth and all the water running was her cleaning herself up. I don't know, but this is gruesome. She had a call button on her bed to get a nurse. She had her mother right there. She had a rope in the bathroom, string, whatever you want to call it, where she could pull it and get help. These were her choices. Sounds to me like that was the cord.
Didn't know what this blood was from. We were a little concerned that maybe she had, known that we were gonna figure it out and that she might have harmed herself or something in the restroom. So the doc wanted to go check her, but obviously that wasn't the case.
Unclear as to what had happened, other nursing staff care for Treviso, believing she had a miscarriage.
Oh, she came out of the restroom. There was a little trail of blood from the bathroom back to her room. We went to her room. I went to get her undressed. The doctor came in, explained to her that she had a miscarriage. Her mom had a back and forth about it.
The doctor said she had a miscarriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said it seems essentially like, I'm not sure the exact words. So it was a few months ago, but she said, it seems that you've suffered from a miscarriage, which didn't seem totally abnormal. It seemed awful miscarriages before they were very bloody. And so.
Was she bloody?
Mm-hmm.
Like
and then there
her
was,
legs?
Yeah, she had blood all down her legs, and then there was like blood in the bathroom everywhere. So.
Where exactly was the blood and how much?
It was a good amount. It was like on the floor.
Minutes later, cleaning staff arrived to wash up the bathroom.
I was called and to go clean the patient's bathroom in ER around, maybe 2 o'clock or so. I think it was the time. I'm not too sure. So when I went in there, it was a gory, bloody massacre mess.
Could you describe it if possible?
Yeah, there was blood everywhere. There was blood on the floor, on the wall.
Do you remember which wall?
The one behind the toilet, and then the one on the side right here. There's the one where the toilet sits, back of that.
Yeah.
And then on the side.
Where the call button is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the floor, everywhere.
After cleaning the entire bathroom twice, the cleaner grabbed the trash bag to toss it away. That's when she discovered the newborn baby.
When I went to go through the trash, I felt that when I picked up the trash and I looked in it, there was trash in it. But I knew that didn't feel like when I picked it up, it was some weight. So I thought it was the trash bags, because we put the trash bags on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started getting the trash out. And then when I did that, I seen that there was a baby in it. And that's when I freaked out and I called Lori and HT, or the nurses up front. And because there was a baby in the trash. And the baby, when I looked at it, the baby was wrapped up like in like at the bottom of the trash can. And
this poor housekeeper, and notice she uses the word baby. She uses the word baby, not fetus like the lawyer. It's not a fetus. We understand trimesters of pregnancy around here. My God. She says the baby. But then you hear her mother and you hear Alexi, it. Nothing. The housekeeper says baby, not it, not nothing.
With trash on top of it in a trash bag.
And so how did you see it like as soon as you picked it up?
No, after I picked up the trash bag that was on top,
Okay,
where
so
they were throwing the trash at, when I picked that up to change it, that's when I noticed that there was, when I seen the baby.
You like describe the baby?
Yeah, he was about like that big. He had hair, and he was like purplish, but still not like pink. I don't know how to describe it. He was like, he wasn't bruised or nothing like that, and he was like purple, pink skin type color.
The cleaner then calls for a nurse who describes the disturbing moment the infant was discovered.
And then when I picked it up, that's when I noticed it even more, because all I saw was black and purple. But once we picked it up, like the bag suctioned to his face. And that's when I yelled for my charge nurse, which was HT.
He was trying to breathe. That's why the plastic was suctioned to his face. Think about that. I don't want to replay it. It's too harmful for us to hear. It was suctioned to his face. Do you know why? Because he was trying to breathe. Raven said she's never going to unsee that. Angel said, Jesus help her. If anybody needs a break, I totally understand. I totally understand. This woman will never unsee this. Christina said that will convict her. That will convict her. I'm no doctor, but if it's suction to his face, he was breathing, trying to get air.
And I told him, hey, she put her baby in the trash can. So I handed the baby to him, and he took off to the trauma room and opened up the bag. And then that's when we went and got Dr. Vasquez.
Police then hear from the nurse in charge, who says it was clear early on that the newborn was dead.
I go in the bathroom and she goes, something's in the trash can. I'm like, I looked in there, there's a clean liner. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, pick it up. I picked it, I could feel the weight. I knew then we had a serious problem. I just grabbed the trash can and went right across the hall into trauma 2. The liner was pulled out, but there was another trash bag in there in the bottom, but it was all it was rolled up. So I had to tear it apart. And then, of course, I saw the baby in there. So I pulled the baby out, got him on the bed.
Healthcare professional, this is the nurse, took him to trauma 2. So for people that say they didn't try to do anything to save his life, the baby's life, he says baby. What does the birth mother say? It. What does the grandma say? It. They were trying to save little baby Alex, who had plastic suctioned to his face because he ran out of air in that tied plastic bag. It was tied around him. He was gasping for air.
Checked for signs of life. There was absolutely no life whatsoever. I immediately came out of there after I did that and went into the room where she was performing the vaginal exam, and I immediately told her, you have to come out now. And she came out, and we went into trauma 2, and she reassessed the baby. At that time, between me and Chris and her, we determined, there was no reason for us to begin any life saving. The baby was completely gone.
Another nurse recalls the same moments.
And could you tell if the baby was alive or
They did not look alive.
It didn't look alive.
But also, I think the time had passed since she left the bathroom and it being in the bag, it was just.
How long do you think that was?
Maybe like 10 or 15 minutes. I just have a guess. I don't know. We brought the baby up. We called the doctor, obviously, out of the room from her exam. And we came in, kind of, doc assessed the baby and, basically determined it was not viable to completely work the baby and all of that. So.
That nurse tells officers he believes Treviso knew she was pregnant and wanted to hide it from medical staff.
It seemed like we were being just deceived from the beginning, but that's just my take on it. It seemed like she was very manipulative with us. And it was at least what it seemed like to me. She didn't want you to discover, that she was pregnant, and she wore really baggy clothing. And she wouldn't sit still for you. I'm sure she was very uncomfortable too, but yeah, she wouldn't allow you to do it.
It seemed like she'd been trying to hide this pregnancy from her mother for some time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you're pregnant, you're not going to continue taking birth control pills. But if you're trying to hide it, you might start taking weight loss medications. That's just kind of what it seemed like in my head.
Other staff described the lengths Treviso allegedly went to keep her pregnancy and birth a secret.
The umbilical cord looked like an animal had torn it apart. Like, have you ever eaten string cheese?
Mm-hmm.
And, when you twist it, that's how the bottom of the umbilical cord looked. And it.
Oh my God. All right, trigger warning on this part. All right, I can't be more clear about it. I know several people got out because this is a lot to hear, and I do not blame you. We come in as friends, we leave as friends. But they're describing, she said, like string cheese, how you twist it. That's how the bottom of the umbilical cord looked.
I just remember it caught my eye, and I was like, God. I was like, this chick really ripped this thing apart.
After this, medical staff call the police and alert Treviso about their discovery.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, you do have to have the police involved.
And nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
And then I went in there to talk to the patient.
Nothing was crying. It came out with nothing. It came out breathing, air in the lungs and belly, a beating heart, probably little blinking eyes with big eyelashes. He had hair on his head, probably moving around. You know how they flop their arms when they come out? She's lying. If I was everybody on this medical staff, I'd be suing the hell out of Alexi for trauma.
And asked her why was the baby in the trash can.
And what did she say?
She said that it just came out of her and she didn't know what to do.
And I said, did your baby take at least one breath when it first happened? Or did it take at least one breath, or was it not breathing? And then she kind of looked at me in the face and the eyes, and she was like, well, can I tell you? And I said, tell me what? And she said, so I've been having this bad abdominal pain, she said, and we came here to the ER, and when they brought me back here to this room, I felt like I needed to go poop. She said, and I asked if I could go to the bathroom. She said, and so when they said, yeah, that I could go to the bathroom, she said, when I sat on the toilet, she said it just all fell out. And she said, but when I had it in my arms, it wasn't breathing, it wasn't moving.
When I had it in my arms, it wasn't breathing, it wasn't moving. A simple knock on the door, she wouldn't be in the position she's in.
And so, of course, you want to be very, very judgmental at that time, and you have to bite your tongue sometimes, but you know, my first reaction was like, I wanted to say, hey, well, then why wouldn't you call us for help? But I didn't. She said, so I just
he wasn't moving, he wasn't breathing. So I just placed him in there.
Nurses who spoke with Treviso after the baby was discovered say she never asked about him. Instead, they say she was more concerned that she would get in trouble with her mother.
Did they have any comments?
Not one.
Really?
I was really surprised. Not one person asked me about the baby. If it was alive, if it was dead, if it was a boy, if it was a girl, no one asked me anything.
This is going to be very important testimony when we get to the trial. And yes, we're going to cover it. Because when he said, nobody asked me about the baby. Again, a medical professional saying baby. Babies don't just fall out. I don't care if you're Jenna Jameson. They're going to come out when you're dilated to a 10, but you're going to have to push. Nobody asked me anything about the baby.
No, she didn't even ask. No, she didn't ask. The only thing she started doing was crying and started talking about she didn't know what to do. Not one. I've never seen in I've delivered multiple babies and I've seen multiple miscarriages and I've never seen a reaction like that. And I don't even know what to say about that. I've never seen anything like it.
How would you describe the reaction?
I think there was no emotion except for herself, and she really wasn't even crying tears. She was just, and the only thing she was upset about was that I think she was going to be in trouble with her mother.
She didn't say anything about what had happened. She was just essentially worried that she was just going to get in trouble.
So that's what I mean. Were those the questions she was asking?
Like what's going to happen to me? Like that kind of thing.
Did she ever ask about the baby?
No.
Not once.
She essentially was scared. She was worried that she was going to get in trouble. She did have the back and forth with her mother. That was just about like, they had said, oh, the mom was upset because she had had sex and hadn't told her. So they were going back and forth on that. And then she was just denying it, which was a little out of the, wasn't really deniable at that point in time.
Right.
So the patient was denying having sex at this point to her mom.
Yeah, she was trying to state that she was still a virgin.
After she came in from the bathroom.
Others believe Treviso knew she was up to no good.
She definitely knew what she was doing and what was doing was wrong because of the way she was talking to me, just stating, I didn't realize I was pregnant and, but I'm taking birth control, so, she was panicked, but, I didn't see her being in a state of mind where she did not know what she was doing.
Multiple hospital staff members say the incident is not one they will soon forget.
When there's like one or two things in the wastebasket, I usually pick it up and take it out, but I didn't that night. And then, I've been kicking myself on this because I feel like, if I would have just taken it out, I would have seen it.
Well, no one prepares for that type of thing. You know what I mean? Most people don't act like that. So don't blame yourself for it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a natural thing to do.
It's just hard because I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. And I've dealt with death before, but never like this.
Right.
It was horrible.
I'm just going to tell you this. I've never, ever seen a reaction like that girl. I don't even know what to say about it. There was zero emotion. I don't even know what to say. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen women that are only married or not married, but pregnant for 6 weeks and they lose that baby and they're a mess. You know what I mean? That girl went in that bathroom, made no sounds at all, and the baby came out of her. And I don't even know how she functioned that way to do what she did and with no emotion. I've never seen anything like it.
And it was a pretty good sized baby. Pretty good size.
It looked term to me.
Yeah, me too.
It was term. I can't tell you that was, but the only thing that upsets me the most is I understand she was scared, and I think her mother had a big dynamic on her, and I understand that. I mean, I think her mother was probably pretty controlling. I don't know that. I'm just speculation. But she gave me no chance to save that baby.
And that's the sting. This is what this hospital staff has to deal with. They don't have training to come across a baby in a trash can. He said, I've seen women after, 6 weeks and they're a mess. He said, but she gave me no chance to save that baby. No chance. Listen to what he says.
Most is, I understand she was scared, and I think her mother had a big dynamic on her, and I understand that. I mean, I think her mother was probably pretty controlling. I don't know that. I'm just speculation. But she gave me no chance to save that baby. I had no chance, and that's not what I do. My job is to save lives, and I had no chance on that baby. She gave me no chance. And we are a facility that you can drop the baby off, no questions asked. You can just leave the baby and go. I don't care, as long as you bring the baby to a safe. We are one of those type of hospitals, so it's hard to fathom what was going on in her mind.
She could have just knocked on the door. She's an adult, and said, I had a baby. Take it away. I don't want to take care of it. I can't take care of it. I'm ill-equipped. I want to go to prom. I want to graduate. I want to go to college. She could have just walked away. She's an adult. They talk about HIPAA. Let me tell you something. They would have never said a word to her mother. This is between you and me. This is between you and me, Mr. Nurse. Take the baby. I don't want to deal with that bitch. I don't want to deal with that bitch in there. We saw the video of a very young girl who had a baby, took it home, wrapped the baby up, took it to the fire department, put it in the safe haven box, and now has been adopted by the fireman and his wife that had been trying to have a baby for 10 years. You know what she said? I didn't want her to grow up like me. Accountability. Christina said, what about the dad? He's got rights too because the baby was alive. That's what I've been saying. Mr. Boyfriend needs to file a lawsuit. Wrongful death of his son. She had every chance to save her child. Now here she is with a long list of other mothers that were so selfish. People are always ragging on these men, but let me tell you what, these mothers, these egg donors take the cake. Look at this. And now Alexi. They always have these soulless eyes. Every time. Nothing there. Lights are on, but no one's home. Lights are on, no one's home. All right. On to another mother who was extremely selfish. She left her baby at home by itself so she could go on vacation. Look at this. One of you sent this to me in the email. Like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't know what was going on.
Was curious about stuff. She was wonderful. She was just a wonderful baby. We keep telling her not to leave her by herself. Not only me, my friend across the street too. but she always be here by herself.
We just couldn't believe that she was gone.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Those are the neighbors of 31-year-old Crystal Candelario. She's the Ohio mother who allegedly left her 16-month-old daughter, Jaylyn, home alone while she went on a 10-day-long vacation.
Okay, so at 16 months old, yes, the baby was walking. She just left stuff in the floor like she was leaving it for a dog. Freaking Cheez-Its. And she goes on a 10-day vacation? Why would you not want your daughter to go with you on the vacation? I tell you what, these women, all they think with is what's between their legs. They do. They find the next pogo stick and forget about the kids.
And after she finally returned home, Candelario found her daughter unresponsive. Shocking, right? Well, baby Jaylyn had died in the home where she was left, surrounded by dirty blankets, soiled with urine and feces, and left inside of a pack-and-play. Police say that the poor child was severely dehydrated at the time of her death. And now Candelario, the baby's mother, is indicted by a grand jury for murder, felonious assault, and endangering the welfare of her child. And while this case is sickening, unfortunately, it's not the first time we've seen a case like this play out here on Court TV. In fact, we've seen facts and circumstances quite similar. You may remember our wonderful courties who were with us since day one. Remember the case of Cheyenne Harris back in 2019, the year we relaunched? Harris found guilty of first-degree murder and child endangerment after her 4-month-old son was found dead in his baby swing, abandoned in the back room of their apartment for 9 to 14 days with no food or water and never changed. The child had skin infected from sitting in his feces and his diaper filled with maggots. Little baby Sterling.
She did. Left him in the swing, eaten by maggots.
In the case, it was determined that little baby Sterling died of malnutrition, dehydration, E. coli entered his bloodstream through his infected skin. But in the case of baby Jaylyn in Cleveland, there's no cause of death or autopsy results being released yet. So we don't know exactly what it is. But this morning, we want to bring in our own expert to talk about what that baby's cause of death might have been and talk about proving this case at trial. I'm going to bring in our expert this morning. He's standing by in Toledo, Ohio. He is a physician and professor, Dr. Jason Smith. Good morning to you, my friend. Wonderful to see you on this Wednesday. I hate that we have to talk about cases like this, but we do. The state of Ohio is going to have to bring in someone like yourself to talk about how this baby died. So, Dr. J, go into professor mode for us. Pretend like we're your students in the class.
Well, I'm going to help out the professor. Okay, we're going to pretend like we're in class. We don't leave babies home by themselves. If we have to step out, we get a babysitter. And I'm ready for these people. Alexi and her boyfriend, I'll start with them. Fix them. Fix them. Clip them. Be done with it. Why give these people another chance to procreate? If grandma's got your child because CPS got involved, guess what? You already played your cards and you lost. Fix them. Be done with it. The government spends tons of money on shit that doesn't matter. Do something that matters. You're handing out condoms, needles, and birth control like they're M&Ms. Fix them.
How do you think this happened, please?
Yeah, Julie, good morning. Good morning, Courties. You know, this is, again, disturbing and I would almost argue confusing. Who would think that it would be safe to leave a 16-month-old baby in a pack and play for any period of time, especially up to 10 days? You know, when we look at a case like this, we are, again, postulating how this child may have passed, sadly and tragically. And I do think that dehydration, heat illness had to play a factor. Obviously, we will be waiting for the coroner's final report. But, you know, this is a situation where a child is essentially caged in that pack and play. She has no access to food or water. And I think very quickly, especially in a child at that age, dehydration will set in like immediately. We're talking about in a day to 2 days. And this is not by any way, shape, or form a comfortable way to live, or unfortunately how Jalen passed.
Certainly not, Dr. J. I have a really unpleasant question to ask you, but it's a critical question. In your opinion, did baby Jalen suffer before she died?
She tragically suffered, and she suffered quite a bit. I mean, this will be a child that was undoubtedly crying, sitting in her own urine, her own feces, and she did not cry short periods of time. She cried until she could not cry anymore.
And we know what diaper rash looks like. Let me tell you something. If my husband and I, if we're out running around, you know, throughout the day, it's hell to pay when we get back with our cat, OJ. OJ has separation anxiety disorder. He gets very upset if we're not around. Very upset. And, well, OJ's a cat, okay? OJ's a cat. You leave a baby alone? A baby. Her excuse is she's very independent and knows how to get out of the pack and play, and she left snacks out for her. She's not 16 years old. She's 16 months old.
And it is heartbreaking to think of this and this tragic way that a child should die, because it should never happen.
Dr. J, when we think about this period of time, 10 days, you have to wonder how soon into that 10-day period might that horrible suffering have ended? If you had to put forth your best educated guess on that, what would it be and why, please?
Yeah, I'm not going to play corner in this situation because I really don't know, but I would venture to guess it would have been sooner than later. This 16-month-old cannot sustain without water, without nutrition for a very long period of time.
Oh, it is so heartbreaking. Dr. J, stand by. I want to also bring in our other guest we have on the show this morning, criminal defense attorney Greg Isaacs, standing by in Knoxville, Tennessee, where he practices. Certainly no stranger to high-profile criminal cases. We watched Greg in action on Court TV. Greg, talk to me, please, about what the state is coming with against Crystal Candelario. Here, you know, you can't think there was any other intention than to kill a baby, right? If you walk away for 10 days, it's not like 10 minutes. How do you see this case playing out for her? We know she's going to be in court this morning, 9 a.m. for one of her pretrial hearings. How do you think this is going to go, please?
Well, it's going to go poorly. And if you're the defense lawyer in a case like this, you know, you are going to scratch your head in terms of what can I do to zealously represent somebody that presents as depraved, as a mommy/monster. You know, you see cases where someone leaves a child unattended for a short period of time in a car overnight. But it is very rare to see someone abandon a child for a period of time.
People get in trouble for running into the convenience store and getting a jug of milk or a 2-liter of pop and leaving their child in the car with the air conditioner running. What did she think? Was the vacation worth it while she was knocking boots with the new boyfriend for 10 days?
Time and return. It's almost a slow torture. It is premeditated. It is planned. So if I'm the defense lawyer, I'm going to try to confront the medicine with the mens rea, with experts that can put this behavior in some sort of context. Was there a mental disease or defect? But Julie, the problem is to find someone that could say she had a substantial mental disease or defect that prohibited her from controlling her conduct and her actions. When you juxtapose the fact she was on vacation for 10 days. So I think this is one where you really have a hard time coming up with a defense because the medicine is against you, the facts, the sympathy.
And again, look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes.
Are against you. So a very, very tough hurdle for the defense.
Certainly, Greg.
Yeah, huge hurdle for the defense because there's no defending this. Does she deserve a defense? Absolutely. Our Constitution guarantees it. Now, thank you again, because without you guys, I would never know anything that's going on because, you know, when I'm done true criming, I'm watching stuff about how to make toy soldiers out of toilet paper rolls. You know, I'm watching cooking channels and stuff. Now we come to another egg donor who put her babies in the trash.
Shock and heartbreak tonight after 2 babies are found dead at a home. And more questions than answers right now as neighbors try to come to grips with this tragedy. Homicide detectives called in to investigate. Good evening, I'm Caitlin McCarthy. Jim Nelson has the night off. Our Michelle Nix sorting out what we know right now.
The investigation into those 2 dead infants reportedly found in a trash bin of all things, according to witnesses, is centered around this Buckeye Shaker Square neighborhood where most people have lived for decades, and they wonder how desperate someone must be if they think they can throw away children.
Shocked, sickened, disturbed. The only way to describe how this young woman feels after hearing the news that the bodies of 2 infants, twins, were found in a trash bin, according to neighbors, behind this home on Saturday in the 2800 block of Ludlow Road in Cleveland.
I'm a single mom. I would never even conceive a thought of ever hurting my baby like that.
Cleveland police confirmed that there were 2 infant fatalities discovered at this home just after 7 Saturday night, but they're not saying how the babies were discovered or where. A neighbor who asked not to be identified is both sickened and concerned.
I have heard that the discovery was made by a landscaper that came over to do the grass, and in the process of dumping his yard waste, he opened the trash receptacle and saw the infants.
What's
twin babies in the trash with grass clippings. Fix her, put her in jail forever. Forever.
It's unclear as if the children were born unresponsive, became ill after birth, or if someone did the unthinkable.
God forgive the mother, but I hope it was a miscarriage or a stillbirth or something where the children were not living and she didn't make a conscious decision to end their lives.
19 News has confirmed that the person believed to be the mother of the infants was being questioned by investigators on Sunday. It's unclear if that person is...
Now they're claiming postpartum, okay? I know you guys are ready for that, so buckle up. They're claiming postpartum. This is a nice house. They have a landscaper. What did she do? And why? Well, I mean, come on. I'm sorry, but both babies didn't just die of SIDS. No.
As a teen or adult, if they've been arrested or if criminal charges have actually been filed in the infant deaths.
You would think there would be some type of parental or family support that would not lead to something like this.
Something like this that's clearly a crime and has rocked this Buckeye Shaker Square neighborhood to its core. Neighbors wondering if the mother felt she had nowhere to turn.
It's a lot, but there are resources. There's other single moms, you know, and nothing is wrong with going to, you know, talk to somebody when you're down, feeling down. Postpartum is real.
It's important to note that under the law, there are what's called safe havens. If you're a parent and you feel you can't take care of your newborn child, you can drop off that baby to a fire station or a hospital and you won't face a penalty.
Nope. You won't face a penalty. I know nobody in here has to worry about it because everybody here does responsible and right things. So they need to dig up the daddy and give him a vasectomy because he should have been making sure his kids were safe. If she pulled the parental alienation card, well, then she should have been charged with that. Done with it. How about some positivity? This show has been heavy. It's been crazy. A lot going on. I did see a few people in here trying to defend Alexi. I'm surprised nobody tried to defend the mom that put the babies in there with the grass clippings. How about some positivity? Let's do it. All right, here's some positivity after all that deep, heinous, nasty stuff. Got to have something positive after a show like this. I'm telling you, we're in an upside down world. What is wrong is considered right. What people are defending is the devil's work. We walk amongst demons. I'm telling you right now. I'm not getting all religious. I know I caught some hell for that. But we are walking amongst something that I cannot explain. Evil is real. It is real. But this story is positive, and that's how we're going to end the show.
Home, a woman gave birth to a rare set of identical triplets.
The baby girls have spent the last 2 months in the neonatal intensive care unit at the hospital, but now they're home. The triplets are born at 29 weeks and were a little over 2 pounds back on June 2nd. The news of 3 babies came as a huge shock to this family, now adjusting to a total of 6 kids, and big brother Wyatt couldn't be happier.
They get up in the morning, he'll be like, "Hi, Sissy." Hi. We were ready to start trying for one more. We wanted one more, and we were hoping it would be a girl. And then we were surprised we got 3 girls.
That's it. The beautiful baby girls are identical, so telling them apart is a bit of a challenge right now. Mom says each girl has an anklet of different colors with their initials on them.
That's how they do
to
it.
help them out.
Say that's what you do. Put different socks on, whatever.
Babies.
They are really cute.
Adorable.
Oh my goodness.
But
I
I'll tell
hope
you
they
what.
have extended family from both sides of the same city. You need that.
Absolutely precious. Congratulations to that family. They were surprised. They thought they were having twins, and then they have identical triplets. So now they have a family of 6. Big brother, you know, they have the matching shirts and everything. He's already looking after the babies. So we needed that. We needed that. Absolutely gorgeous. And so are all of you. Thank you to the Mod Squad. Thank you to all of you for being here. If I miss you in Discord or one of the Facebook groups, then I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Edit Twins, for becoming a new member. Where Summer, Titanium Built, Jessica, Pilo's mom, thank you for the super stickers. I appreciate the donation to the channel more than you know, and all of you being here. So you have a blessed Thursday, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. You're the absolute best. Thank you.